Hi guys, in this video I'll demonstrate the zcert application I created to interact with zero-touch PKI. This application has two primary goals. First, to provide a familiar interface and style for anyone who knows vcert, and second, to add features that were missing in vcert today. Zcert are available as executable file for both Windows, Mac, and Linux. When you run the file, you'll see the standard help interface with various commands. Let's explore each command and what it does. Let's start with zcert environment. This command, when you run it, shows what environment variables application recognize. There are multiple ways to set up those variables. For this demonstration, I'll paste my credentials and URL, but I won't set my policy ID initially. This way, you can see how application handles missing environment variables. As you can see, I have three variables set up, but the policy ID is not configured. This is our starting point. We have credentials and zero-touch PKI endpoint configure. I've also included an example flag that shows you how to set up these variables in different environments: Windows, Mac, Linux. Each provides the exact format that you need. Once I have my credentials configured, the first thing that I want to do is to search for existing certificates. The standard search command doesn't require any additional parameters. It returns the top 10 certificates recently created in your tenant. You have several flags available. Limit the output, change the output to show full values without truncation. Search against a substring, for example, searching within certificate serial numbers. Search based on certificate status. For example, if I want to search for 10 most recent revoked certificates, here's what I get. I can see all flags available for search criteria. There are various options for output. One important flag is the policy flag. If I want to see what policies exist in my tenant, I run zcert search -p to see available policies based on my credentials. This can be scoped at the account level or organizational unit level. Now I can show all certificates issued according to the particular policy. Certificate enrollment. Let's discuss one of the primary commands, enroll. When you have your variable set up, the command became straightforward. Just enroll, followed by the common name of the certificate. In my case, since I didn't set the policy ID, the system shows me what policies are available, and I can select which policy I use for this certificate. Remember, zero-touch PKI doesn't handle private keys. All private key generation happen on the machine itself. Now I'll add the policy ID as environment variable, and you can see this command in action. All I need to do now is specify the common name, and I also can add chain as an option. I get my certificate chain, private key, and certificate. There are many options and flags available in enroll command, include common name specification, policy selection, subject alternative names, as well as different output formats. Certificate revocation. Let me demonstrate the revocation function. I'll search for a couple of certificates to show you what I'm going to revoke. As you can see, I have several certificates that share the same common name. When I select them, the system doesn't know which one I want to revoke. So it will offer me an index where I can select the specific certificate I intend to revoke. I get details about the certificates so I can confirm I'm going to revoke the right thing, and I can specify the revocation reason. You can also do it directly from the command line. For example, using the first flag means the top certificate from the output, perhaps one that I just issued by mistake. The platform will revoke certificate without additional prompts. Post-quantum cryptography. Now let's discuss something really exciting on the platform. Zero-touch PKI has experimental support for post-quantum algorithms, and zcert allow us to issue certificates for post-quantum cryptography. By default, zcert binary come as a standalone application. However, when I want to issue post-quantum keys and certificate request, the Go library I use for zcert doesn't have good support for post-quantum algorithms. Therefore, I base this functionality on external OpenSSL with OQS provider. This allows my application to interact with OpenSSL to offload post-quantum algorithm generation and then process the CSR against zero-touch PKI. Configuration file support. zcert supports external configuration files. You can use zcert-config command to generate an external CNF file that supports multiple profiles. Let me show you the content of this file. Each profile has its own section. There is a default profile that serves as a fallback when nothing is specified in CLI. You can have production or test environments, and there is a specific section for post-quantum cryptography called PQC. You can see support for OpenSSL location, support for legacy post-quantum algorithms with OID 1.3.x, and modern NIST-approved algorithms that uses OID 2.x.x. Specific algorithms like MLDSA 44, previously known as Delinium 2. There is a flag that tells the application whether to use a new style or legacy algorithms when creating a post-quantum CSR. Let me show you how the integration works. Right now, I expect the command to fail because I don't have OpenSSL in my folder. As you can see, we currently have only two files, the executable and config file. Let me copy OpenSSL and OQS provider from appropriate folder to complete our setup. Now that we have all files in place, let's run the command. As you can see, the command returns a much longer private key and certificate. Those represent post-quantum algorithms. I can run the same command with the chain flag, and in that case, I'll get back the issuer and root CA as well. Now let's talk about run command. Due to its complexity, I made it as close to zcert as possible. You can see that with YAML flag command, you can create an example configuration file. Here I show you the three examples in the same file that demonstrate how you can create multiple certificates at once. When you run this command, you can see that I request certificates and store them in the cert folder. I will run the same command again, but because the expiration hasn't come into play, I don't get certificate renewals. However, I can use the force flag that will enforce a certificate renewal. If you check in the cert folder, you see that based on one of the configuration in the YAML file, all previous certificates were backed and a new one were created in place. This concludes our demonstration of the first release of zcert application. I'm looking forward for your feedback and thank you for watching. See you on my next video.